Hi, welcome to a training video on how to build a logo using Canva. Canva is a great tool if you're new to it. If you've used Canva but you've never created a logo with it, I'm going to go through some steps of the process today. As you can see, I have the free version. I do not have the paid version, so that's what we'll be working with today. So the first thing you would need to do is set up your account if you haven't done so already, and then go to the home page, and that's where we're starting today. So when you have that all set up and you're ready to join me, this is where we will begin on the home page. So looking at the home page, we're given a few options right away of what to do. I can also type in my search right here if I do not see any options I want. But I see right here exactly what I want to do is a logo. So I'm going to go ahead and create a blank logo. And once I do that, it already pops up some options for me. But first, I'm going to just go over here and walk through some of the basics of Canva's logo setup. So once again, this is a free version. So everything we will be doing in this will be free, and you will see how that is frustrating, but it is totally doable. So a few things we need to have ready before we start playing 100% and creating that logo is that we want to have our base down. So when I say base, like what elements do you want in your logo? What are you looking for? What are you doing? Are you creating an LLC? Are you trying to create a brand for online social media? What kind of logo do you need and for what purpose? Once you kind of have that in your mind, you have the tone set, then I want you to ask yourself a few other questions. What color scheme, style, or any specific elements do you want to include in your logo? So if your logo has a special meaning to you, then you might want to incorporate something of that. So if it has something to do with nature, you can look for elements of nature to add to it. Now we're going to start playing around with those pieces, but it is nice to have that base if you wanted to create a logo today. So let's go ahead and start with our design option. So design, we can already see some templates here. If you see a little crown, that's the pro. That means that's something you have to pay for. If you see you can look in styles. This is where we'll actually spend some time today, is in styles, not in templates. I'm going to show you a quicker way to do a nice simple logo. Then we have elements. Elements is something we could use today. Elements can be important if you want to add something that has a little extra meaning, and it's going to add a little something special to your logo. Text is very important. We're going to talk about this today. And text is just like you would use in a Word document. Nothing super extravagant here. There are, of course, the fancier versions to use. If you want to already have a start, like a template, you can go with that. But I'm going to show you some quick tips. Once again, we also have the upgraded versions you can see here. And we have a brand template. Now, this is if you have an upgraded version and you are building a brand and you want to have everything in one place. This is somewhere you can go to do that. Uploads, if you already have some images you want to upload and include in your brand or your logo, this is where you would upload it here, and then it can move around Canva. We have the draw option, and hopefully I'll be able to show you how you can use these without having to draw freehand with your mouse. Just some touch-up tools that can make your logo look a little extra. And then we have a folder for projects and other apps. So let's go ahead and go back to design, and we're going to go to styles. I'm going to recommend that you begin with styles because this is going to be your color dynamic. So say you do work for a company and you're helping them develop a logo and they have a set of colors. So to do that, you could use those colors, and if you know the color numbers, you can always do that. But if you're not quite sure and you want some ideas of a color palette, you can go here. So not only do they have color palettes that you could choose from, but they are also font sets you can choose from, and then if you have some recent designs, they are down there as well. So what I'm going to do is go to some combinations. I'm going to go see all so I can have a nice blend of colors. And I'm looking for more of a neutral, modern kind of look. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this combination here. So it gives me some font, it gives me some colors. So the color scheme here, I can click through and I can figure out what I want as my base. And it's using the other colors in there for my font heading, so I can go through and decide what I want. So once I decide on a color I like, I can go here. If I wanted to change colors, I could definitely do that. I can have gradients. It gives you some options here of how you can upscale this if you want, but I'm looking for something really simple and something that I can just kind of play around with and toy with on my own. So another option here I'm going to bring up is adding a page. Adding a page is going to give you some more colors to play with. So let's go ahead and we're going to go back to our design. We're going to go back to our colors that we had going on here. We can apply to all pages if we had multiple pages, but what I want to do is kind of just change the coloring in this one. I'm keeping the same style, I'm keeping the same color palette, but I just want to give myself some options to play with to see what I like best. So I'm going to give myself a nice light green here, add one more page, and I'm going to give myself another background color. So now I have three options, and I can also do the same thing if I wanted to play around with the fonts here and say, I don't really like this one, but I like these two fonts. I'm kind of sticking with these. I could do a duplicate page, and then I could get rid of this font heading if I want to stick with this one, or on this one I could get rid of this. And that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scroll up to page 1. And on page 1, I'm going to keep the color palette I already have here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete all these fonts. I don't want to use any of them. I kind of have an idea of where I want to go with this. So I'm going to go back from my combination color. I'm using my left arrow over here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll on that. I have some other color options. If I did not like those, I have more choices. I could go to different color palettes and so on and so forth. But what I want to do now is go to text. So I'm on page 1. I'm going to add a text box. It does that automatically for me and centers it. Now I want to search for fonts and combinations. So I'm looking for a nice clear font, and something I like just from Word documents is the sans serif. So I'm going to go ahead and look for that. Now on Canva, I don't have that exact font, but I have options around that font. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that first one. So I'm going to go ahead and I deleted the initial text box. I'm sticking with the font I like here. What I'm going to do is enlarge it though, because I want it bigger. Let's make it a nice 75. It's for my logo today. I'm going to use initials. So I have my font box here. I'm just clicking it and dragging it up to center it. And you can see those pink lines pop up, and that helps center my current text. So what I have here is the vertical and the horizontal lines are telling me this is completely centered, so I'm letting that go. To change my colors, I'm going to double click it again and highlight my lettering, and I'm going to go to my text color. Once I click on my text color, you're going to see some of those colors I ran through earlier. Those document colors, they're right here, the ones I chose for those few pages. I also have other options here. I could go back to design and look for other colors. I could do multiple things here if I wanted to change the colors, but I'm going to stick with the color palette I have. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that lighter color that was part of the color palette. I liked it. I'm going to stay with it. So now I could get out of here. I don't need that anymore. I can minimize this. Here we go. And I'm going to just go ahead and create my initials here for my brand, and I'm going to go ahead and play around with this. Now, once you see me moving this around, I'm now trying to center just these 3 letters, and I have done that by using those vertical and horizontal lines that are provided by Canva. All right, so now I have my initials here that I want to use for my logo. So I'm going to play with this just a little bit. I have that nice clean look I like, but it is a little boring. So I want to like just, you know, make it a little fancier. So I'm going to go to the effects button here. And the effects doesn't do much. It gives us some like clip art type advancements. Very simple, but we can do a lot with this. So something I could do is like the hollow here. I can make that so I see an outline. If I do something like a splice, I can have that double color. Now, if I wanted to change this and include another piece of the color palette, I could. That is an option. So you have some things you can play with here. That's, I think, a lot of fun for Canva. So I'm going to go to outline, and outline is going to kind of do the same thing where it's giving me some options here. And if I want to play around with those colors, I can. So if I want that lighter green on the darker green, if I wanted to do a nice black outline, I could have those, or I can change this. So say I want the inside to be that green, or I want it to be the dark green and I want to take it away, or the light, whatever. So let's say I do the dark. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back to my effects. I'm going to click on the color here, the fill color. I'm going to make that my outline color, and I'm going to make that something so I pop up. I could do that. I could do the lighter green color if I want that outline. So there are just a few ways you can go ahead and play with this. Whatever you find more interesting. I like this filler color here, and I'm going to go ahead and make this back to the dark green, and then that way I just have a nice clean initial. So now I'm going to look at some elements. Go ahead and click on that. And my last name means flowers, so I'm going to go ahead and type in flower outline. So once I have a flower outline, and the reason I put outline is because I want something that's a little more graphic looking. I don't want anything too intricate because I want to include it into my initials. So right here I have graphics already. I can also click on the tab here. Go ahead and do that. Once again, you're going to see different options. So here I have the Pro, and I have the ones that are for free. So if I want to go even further in my filter, I have a few options. I can go flower border, or I can go to my filter option up here, and I can click on one of these options that I find useful. But I'm just going to go ahead and scroll for a little bit and see what we have here. I kind of like this one just because it's so simple, and I'm going to show you some things we can do with it. I'm going to actually click on down here and get this one just so I can play with it if I like it better. And then it also gives me recommendations. So we can see this one here is pretty interesting, and it shouldn't cost much, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go down here and click on that and include it. I'm going to go back to this one. I didn't really like any of those options. Let's see, something I like. Let's see if this one, if I click on this, I get any free ones. No, they're all pro. And this one, this is a really common look. We have a free one, and then there's, oops, we have a few other ones. And the more I click, you can see it's just kind of showing up here. So I'm going to drag these down as options. Actually, just delete that one. Okay. Let's go and another just plain nice outline, flower outline there. And then we got something a little out of the ordinary. Let's go ahead and click on that. Okay. So we have some options I like here, and we're going to play around with these. Let's go back to this top one. We have our nice dark color here. I'm going to go ahead and hide that just so we see our main tile here, our main page. And I right now have the flower highlighted. So it gives me some choices. I can edit my photo. I could do the position. I have transparency. If I want to copy a style, I can copy that. And this, we're going to use this when we go to page 2. So let's first go to position. And now I can quickly do some really quick positions. I could change my layering if I wanted to. I don't need to change any layers at this time, and I don't need to really worry about the arrangement of the flower at this time. So I'm going to go to animate. Animate's going to give me some options here. If I want to use this in a PowerPoint slide, or if I wanted to do this on a social media platform, I could animate it, download it with the animation and include it into something else. I could do a whole page or just the photo. We're going to go to the border style, and now that would be the border we see now. That's the blue with the white dashes and dots. That would be including that if we wanted to for a reason. If we thought it would add something, we could do that. We can flip it and we can edit photo. So I'm going to go to edit photo. And edit photo gives me some more fun options. So it gives me the option to do some effects. You can see most of these are paid options you have. We have some different filters we can use, and we have some shadowing or autofocus or blurring we can do in the background as well. We can adjust. We could do the whole image. We could get some contrast. If we wanted that to fade in the background a little bit more, we could play around with that. And we can crop it. So if we want to make this smaller or bigger, that is some options we have. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm going to click on my 3 dots now. On my 3 dots, you're going to see a few more of those options. We can copy, we can delete, show, apply colors to the page, and here we have replace the background if I wanted to do that with the color of the flower. All right. So we have a few options, and this one's pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, put this here. I have my heading I like. Delete body, the word body, and I'm going to play around with these. I'm going to use my initials for my logo. I'm going to mess with the layers on this one. So I did my I don't know if you caught that, but what we did is we used our copy style to just quickly get that same exact look as up here. It does the same font, same coloring, all of that. So now I'm here and I'm going to play around with this. Now this flower gives us an option to play with the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to change it to the same color as my initials. I'm going to actually go to my lettering here, and I'm going to go to my effects. The reason I'm going to my effects is because I want to change that color and blend it in a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and close that, turn off the effects. We're going to go to position. I'm going to go to layers. And I'm going to move the flower to the front. So this should be my front layer, and it didn't seem to do that layer. Send back, send to back. I'm going to give this a hard time. That's okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is kind of blend this in a little bit better with the lettering I have here. So I want to kind of slant it in because I want this to kind of incorporate with that letter F, and it's going to fade into the M. So I can play with this a little bit more. Do I want it to kind of come out of the F? Do I want it to be at the tip and I can shrink this? Or do I want to make this more of the P? So this is the area where you get to kind of play a little bit more. Let's see what we do here. Now I have my flower in the background of the P. It kind of stands out a little bit more. I really like the way that looks. I can mess with these a little bit more. I can make this bigger. I can edit it. So I did not center this originally. So let me go ahead and do that now. I'm going to highlight my flower again. I'm going to put it in that position I liked. So just playing around with it, seeing what we like. I like that a little bit more. And I can enlarge this, I can shrink this, I could do whatever I want. I want to play with some shadowing real quick if it'll allow me to. Any of that. I could do transparency. So say I just need it to fade in the back a little bit more. I want it to be less pronounced. I can do that. I kind of like how that looks. So you're just playing around, trying to get something that really works for you. If I wanted to click on my flower again, click on my three dots, see if I have any other options here I like. I can duplicate it. I can add more flowers. I can add different things. I can lock this if I don't want it to move. If I want to add more stuff and I want more images, but I don't want this to be adjusted, I can lock them so they stay in place as I add new things. So that's just a quick, simple way. You can go big, you can go small. Let's go ahead and keep this font. And you could do, this is where I want to show you how you can make things blend in a little bit more. So I'm going to enlarge this just so I kind of have it a little bit closer. I'm going to go to my zoom section here. I'm going to go in 200%. I really want this to line up well, and I want to color in this so it blends a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is go to draw. I'm going to go to my marker function. I'm going to go to that dark color here, that dark green, and I'm just going to use my mouse. It's too thick. So let's see if I can use, or my marker is too thick. So I'm going to go to the pen option and see if that works better for what I'm trying to do. And go back to the color we wanted. That's darker. Here's our color. And so I'm able to blend in my logo here and make this a little more personalized. If you like this and you're like, okay, but I'm going to sketch it on my own and import it, you could completely do that on something like Paint. I'm going to just zoom out so you can see just quickly what this looks like now. So there we go. So now you can see if I did a better job, was a little more patient with myself, I could blend that in a little bit better. I could add some more stuff to the flowers, but I can make it look a little more seamless. I could bring this down a little bit more, which I probably would do if I had more time to mess with this, to make it a little more personalized. I could make this come out of one of the letter F, because that's the one that has flowers as the meaning. So there are a lot of options. There's a lot of things to play with, but we quickly made 3 quick logos in less than a half hour. So there is a lot of options with Canva when it comes to creating a logo and how you want to use it. I hope you got some value of this. You're not afraid to come back to Canva and use the free options to play around. If for nothing else, some brainstorming ideas of how to create something on your own in Paint. So thank you for stopping by and watching. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.